Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by, keeping me company as usual. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please subscribe, like the video, share, and you're welcome to leave your comments in the comment section. To my subscribers and regular viewers, welcome back. So nice to have you as always. Appreciate you greatly and the support that you give to the channel. Remember, you know the ropes, right? You're going to give the video a thumbs up from now on, share as you always do, and you leave your comments in the comment section, right? So I want to thank you in advance. Great. Now it's time for business. Yes, we're getting down to business now. So yesterday, I know a lot of persons were watching, and even a lot more persons missed it entirely. And we are talking about the meeting in Parliament of the Oversight Committee for the Integrity Commission. Yes, they had a meeting yesterday, well anticipated. Some of us missed it, like me. I got it when it was over, but it's YouTube, so you can always watch it. What I have for you today is the full text of what it was that Justice Panton said in his opening remarks. It has generated a lot of interest. Justice Panton was throwing a little sarcasm at our parliamentarians, and he was hoping that you, the sycophants, did not notice. But let me tell you, no, bright, because I didn't hear the full. I went to do something and come back, and people were saying, but Justice Panton is talking about where parliamentarians need to see psychiatrists. I said, but we're going to hear that. And I listen and I never hear. I said, well, then where people get this from? Must be somewhere else. And then it clicked. When they mentioned Longmore, it clicked. I said, but look at this. I did not even notice. Uno see Uno bright? I Uno not think me bright. Me not bright at all. No, sir. Uno bright. Justice Panton was hoping that Uno would notice. But Uno notice. Because, like so many Justice Pantons of this world, them think they're ordinary people because them not have no degree and they not go law school and all them think they don't have no sense. But we know how to pick sense out of nonsense because what? We go a good school. Not true? Yes. Anyway, I have a little something I would like to say prior to playing the video of what it was that Justice Panton said. And I will return after with a few more remarks. Not much, just to close off. Unless something occurred to me, of course, that I didn't notice before. So I have this to say to Justice Panton. Now, Justice Panton, I see that you're trying your hand at a little politicking. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants a new experience in their life from time to time, and if you want to try a little politicking, why not? You, of course, will need to dress up your arguments a little better when you're politicking. And when you're referring to the people with whom you were trying to appeal to, you have to be careful of how you describe them. You spoke about partisanship, and there were other words used such as malice in describing the report and the language of the report that was tabled in Parliament concerning the Prime Minister and illicit enrichment and making false statement on his statutory declaration of 2021, which the Director of Corruption Prosecution has rejected, and she gave her reasons. Also, the Director of Investigation could find no reason or cause to continue the investigation of illicit enrichment, and he gave his reasons. Now, that aside, you are invited to the Parliament to have some discussion about what's happening at the Integrity Commission. And that invitation came, the listeners would appreciate, before the tabling of the report on the 5th of September. You originally had an invitation to meet with the parliamentarians at this Oversight Committee on the 11th of September. The tabling of the report into Andrew Holness, the investigation, was on the 5th of September. So there's no question about you being summoned to Parliament or being invited to Parliament, whichever language was used, because of the report. So this was an arrangement that was made prior. That is what I got out of the meeting, the committee meeting. So I am saying to you now, Justice Panton, that when you are coming to politics, and when we say politics, we don't mean partisan politics. There are different types of politics. You have partisan politics, PNP, JLP, UIC, and all them things there. And then you have politicking where you're appealing to the people, trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. So when you talk about, for example, that the Integrity Commission is accused of malice in its conduct of its affairs, as well as being partisan, and you say that the people of Jamaica knows that that is not true, right? That you're not engaged in any malicious conduct, and that they know that it's not true, that you are partisan. When you make reference to the fact that only 30% of the people turn up to vote, right? And therefore, the idea of you and the commission and the other commissioners and the commission being partisan is basically what you're saying is ridiculous. The language is kind of difficult to follow, but one has to read between the lines. That's what you're inviting us to do. So, reading between the lines, you're suggesting that it's not that they have the support, the people who don't vote, the people that you're appealing to, right? The ones that are not partisan would be 70% of the voters, or at any rate, 70% of those on the voters list. So you're saying that basically, I think this is what you're implying, that you have a bigger support. But I'm going to tell you something now, Justice Panton. A large part of the reason why people don't vote in Jamaica is because they choose, based upon the behavior of the parliamentarians, not to tolerate any nonsense from them. So rather than vote, they sit back and don't vote. But those are the very same people, Justice Panton, that you will find, based upon the way that they look at things, that they would not be tolerating any nonsense from you either, or the commission. So to assume that because they don't vote, that they don't support either party, or they don't support the parliament and the politics of this country, and may see that you are there to, I don't know what, to defend them or hold these people account, and that somehow you will have a nice fan base. I don't know about that. That depends on what you do, is what I would suggest. So if you hope to win the hearts and minds of the 70% of the people, including even some of those who are partisan, PNP and JLP partisanship I'm talking about, because the day that you rule against any PNP person, say PNP people won't come and call you Labour, right? And when you do it against the Labour Party MPs or councillors, the Labour Party people won't call you PNP. So you know how it goes. So you mustn't pay them any mind, right? Now, if you are going to win the hearts and minds of people, I suggest to you that it is necessary for you to do your job, being mindful that your service is in service of all of us and not yourself. It's not about you, Justice Panton. It's about us. That's why you have that position. And when you interpret those laws that created your office in the first place, the Integrity Commission Act, conflicting though they may be with one another or with other laws, when you are interpreting the Integrity Commission Act, it is your responsibility, your duty, your job to ensure that whatever interpretation you put upon those laws and the wording of those laws are in accordance with the public's interest. That is what the Constitution states. We have to do whatever we are doing in the interest of the public. So that is the thing that you need to consider whenever you're interpreting any of those laws, until such time when they fix them. Now, when you interpret, I would suggest that when you interpret Section 53.3 of the Integrity Commission Act, that's the section to do with what is called the gag order, right? Where it says that no one, not the commission, not your employees, not anybody that is party to the investigation, none of the institutions who may be requested from time to time to provide information to the commission, nobody is to discuss, report on, or make an announcement, as the Director of Investigation said, that they are under investigation or that any particular person is being investigated by the Integrity Commission. So when you are to interpret Section 53.3 of the Integrity Commission Act, an important clause or section when it comes to the functioning of the Integrity Commission, for which you are the chairman, I should think that it is to be interpreted not in accordance with your opinion of what makes sense to you, no, but what is in the public's interest. Let me repeat myself, Justice Panton. I should think that when you are interpreting Section 53.3 of the Integrity Commission Act, it is to be interpreted not in accordance with your opinion of what makes sense to you, but interpreted in accordance with what is in the public's interest. And you must now decide, Justice Panton, whether having individuals, anybody, not just parliamentarian, anybody who is required by the law to submit declarations to the commission, you have to decide whether, if any of those persons being investigated were sent a notice to that effect, that person alerting anyone about being investigated, especially when you say that the parliamentarians in particular need to take care of what it is that they say, lest their sycophants may take things upon themselves, is basically what you're saying, to abuse or harm your staff, including yourself, right? You must decide whether, having regard to that, it is not in the best interest of the public to interpret Section 53.3 of the Integrity Commission Act as stated that no one at all, including the person who is being investigated, should speak or report on the investigation or the conduct of the investigation or the initiation of the investigation until it is tabled in Parliament after that. And not for you to go behind this section to expand the meaning of this section, to impose your views on what the law said. Let me say that again for you, Justice Panton. Let me say it again. Whether having regard to the fact that all kinds of games can play once persons are allowed to go and discuss it. That's the case now. When the police is investigating anybody, they can go and discuss it. They can also go and plan with people, right? Call people on phone, meet with people, and discuss how they can get rid of this case, right? Yes, it is there. The law is there for the benefit of the protection of the reputation of persons. You don't want to go ball it out. It's politics after all. You go ball it out to investigating these people. Investigating, you don't find no evidence, and then now the reputation is damaged. So you want to protect them, but at the same time, you also want to protect the integrity of the very investigation from being contaminated by them, or as you would say, their sycophants. Therefore, I would say that it is in the best interest of the public, this is my opinion, and I hope it will be yours, to interpret Section 53(3) of the Integrity Commission Act as stated that no one is to speak on the matter, even those persons who are being investigated, and not look behind the section and expand the meaning of it in order to impose your views on what you think the law is saying or what you think the law should say. Because that, Justice Panton, is not necessarily in the best interest of the public. Now, you are saying something, the investigator is saying something, the executive director was saying something at one point, and then decide to agree with you and your position, having regard to the way in which he's looking at it, taking in other sections of principles of law, I suppose you lawyers would say, right? And what it suggests is that when it comes to the interpretation of Section 53(3), there is no agreement within the Commission as to what it means. I suggest to you, Mr. Panton, that everybody in the Commission understands what it means. There is no exception. You have to go outside of the language of the law itself and infer other meaning in order to arrive at the conclusion that you came to. That the person who is the subject of the investigation should feel free or is free to discuss it, because you're looking at it from the point of view of the fact that it is his confidentiality that is being protected. But have you considered, Mr. Panton, that where the law says not to speak on the conduct of the investigation, that now takes it out of the realm of just the confidentiality of the individual, and now is talking about the integrity of the investigation itself. In other words, the act and the section of this act, Section 53(3), may well be doing a double role, or in any event, double effect. First, it is protecting the privacy and the confidentiality of the individual being investigated, and at the same time, it is protecting the investigation itself so that you can arrive at the truth, which would be in the interest of justice and by extension in the public's interest. Now, you make some very sarcastic comments in the House, and you know very well, or was it that you were trying to provoke the parliamentarians into indiscretion and have it out with you, so that the people out there would see you being bullied or beaten up, you think, without observing that you were making some snide remarks that provoked the parliamentarians. But the people in this country are not as fool as you bright people think, because they found out that you were being sarcastic by suggesting that these parliamentarians need the offices of a psychiatrist. They notice. But nonetheless, I am very pleased to hear that you will be meeting with Senator Longmore, the consultant psychiatrist. And I hope that your meeting with her will go well. Yes, I hope it will go very well. And that you will benefit from the experience. Now, it is unusual for people to self-diagnose themselves. This is me being sarcastic now, Justice Panton. It is very unusual for people to self-diagnose themselves as having mental issues. Yes. But be that as it may, I hope your meeting with Senator Longmore goes well. And as I said before, you benefit from it. That's my 2p worth. But before I go, persons were asking me to address this issue of you calling the people sycophants. And as I said before, if you're trying to win hearts and minds, Justice Panton, being a judge in charge of the, your court, and nobody can talk to you except the law and precedents. But when you're talking and trying to win over people, you have to be careful of how you style them. Yes, sycophant is a word which describes a person. It says someone who praises powerful or rich people in a way that is not sincere, usually in order to get some advantage from them. And they give an example. The Prime Minister is surrounded by sycophants. Right? Now, we know it's not the people that's surrounding the Prime Minister you're referring to as sycophant. No, you already said that they are the ones who need to be careful of what it is that they're saying, so that they're sycophants, right? Given the society that we live in, don't, misbehave, is what you're basically suggesting. You're calling the supporters of the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party, some of whom have issues with you. You're calling them sycophants because they're criticizing the commission. You're calling the people sycophants? What are you saying? I wonder if they understand. You see, a lot of people know the word, but I don't know if they fully understand what the word means. But you do, because you're a judge, or you used to be a judge. A very good one too. And the one thing with judges, they know how to use words and what those words mean, because it's essential to any orders or any decision you make in that court. So when you use the word sycophant, or you call it sycophant, right, you're talking about the supporters of the two parties who look up to their MPs, but they are not sincere. You really believe that they're not sincere? Them only look something from the people? No, Justice Panton, you need to take back them words. Take back those words. You're out of order. Out of order. You can't be disrespecting people like that because they criticize you, even if you don't agree with what they are saying. You need to take a leaf out of the politician's book if you're going to be trying your hand at the politicking and theatrics, according to Edmund Bartlett. You don't understand Jamaican people all this while you sit up on the bench, Your Honor. You don't understand Jamaican people. Them love people, and then you criticize those people and go and criticize you. And you see, the minute you start to criticize the people where them not love so much, them love you. So you don't pay them no mind when you hear them chat. Make them talk. How you feel be calling the supporters of these people that you are trying to appeal to support you against them? Because according to you, they need to be careful of the things that they say. I agree, but then so should you. Because people will turn against you and the Integrity Commission because of the things that you say. So you have to be careful. Whatever you do, do not insult the people's representatives. They have people out there that support them, that vote for them, and who love them. And they will turn against you and the commission and cause no ends of problems for you if you do that. So whatever you do, don't go back in our parliament with this impertinence that you went with on the 15th of October. Not try it again. Yes, you said it humorously, but you meant what you said. And that is all I have to say to you, Justice Panton. Have a good day. Now, everyone, please listen to what he has to say. I return with my closing remarks. Just listen.
Before introducing the report which we have already sent, Mr. Chairman, just like to say that the commissioners have noted over the past couple of years that remarks have been made that the commission is partisan and that the commission, that there is malice in its operations. I'd just like to point out that the persons who made those statements know that it is not true. They know that we know it is not true. And they know that Jamaicans know that it is not true. There's a situation where 70% of the persons on the voters list do not vote. And it is startling that it could be suggested that the 5 commissioners happen to be partisan. So we reject that. In terms of our performance over the years, we have on record from no one higher than the Prime Minister that in 2020 he commended the Commission in our Anti-Corruption Day celebration. He said, under the leadership of Chairman, the Honorable Mr. Justice Seymour Panton, the Commission continues to distinguish itself, operating without fear or favor in pursuit of a just and corruption-free society. That was 2020. In 2022, he said that the Commission has done an outstanding job in increasing awareness and understanding of the anti-corruption framework. And as recently as December last year, he said, I am therefore pleased to note its work to expand public sensitization programs and improve investigative performance and technical proficiency, all of which represent a comprehensive approach to addressing corruption. I also commend the Commission's efforts to strengthen awareness and compliance, as well as its dedication to improving responsiveness, etc., etc. So I just want, although I know that Jamaicans on the outside know that those statements made in this hall by parliamentarians are not true, although they know that words here go international. So for the record, I wanted to put on there what none other than the Prime Minister has said in relation to the work of the Commission. And I hope that puts to rest the question of partisanship and malice. As regards some other statements made in this room about giving orders, the Commission takes orders from no one other than the court, and it needs to be understood. The Commission takes orders from no one other than the court. Of course, there is God-given orders which we all obey. And I hope, Mr. Chairman, that the persons who were making those statements, that they will desist because it fuels, such statements fuel a sort of mood among sycophants, and in the kind of society in which we live, we need to understand that persons should be very careful of what they say. There is a member of parliament who was actually, Mr. Chairman, sent out a document with the photographs of 4 of us, saying that we are bringing down the government. Now, in this climate, for a member of parliament to be doing that, it's reprehensible. And I have not heard any parliamentarian condemn it. And they are sending out, their parliamentarians sending out WhatsApp notes of all sorts of reprehensible things. And I hope that somebody will take the leadership to correct them. We on the Commission, we are committed to doing what the legislation permits us to do. That is what is happening. And it is not fair for the employees to be set in a stage where they can be set upon. So I trust that folks will realize that the reports that we send from the Integrity Commission, they are reports of facts. There are factual statements in the reports. Of course, there are recommendations attached to the reports which the law allows. The law says that the Director of Investigation may make recommendations. The recommendations that are made, the Parliament need not follow them. In fact, Parliament in Jamaica has a history of recommendations being made by people who make reports, Commission of Inquiry, and the recommendations are ignored. So we understand that, and we should not really have a situation where we are being pilloried for doing what the legislation allows. Now, in relation to this annual report, Mr. Chairman, it was dispatched to the Parliament in late June. The letter that I signed sending it is dated the 24th of June. And I did notice that no sooner than the annual report left the offices of the Integrity Commission, no sooner than it left the offices, there were public broadcast of it before it was tabled. And I noticed that it happened also with another report that was sent subsequently, and another report that was sent last week. Now, if it is thought that anyone in the Commission is leaking these reports, we would like it brought to our attention, would like it investigated, because anybody in the Commission who leaks, if it's an employee, instant dismissal. But I find it strange that that all these things would be leaked immediately after it leaves the Commission and sent to Parliament. I find it puzzling to understand if it is happening from the Commission, why is it that it is delayed, the leak is delayed until it is sent away from the office. I cast no aspersions, but I want to add a personal note, Mr. Chairman, if you'll allow me, that back on this question of malice, I have been a lay preacher in the Methodist Church for decades. Malice is not in my makeup, and it is not in the makeup of the commissioners. And there may be persons who need to repent, and they can join me at church, Providence Methodist, any Sunday. I don't know if something is wrong with the water in Parliament, why some people, the moment they get into Parliament, they say certain things and behave a certain way. I don't know if that is it. As a result, I decided that I wasn't going to take the chance of drinking any water here. Another feature, Mr. Chairman, which I'm very serious about, is that because of what has been happening, I personally intend to see if I can meet with Senator Longmore, Doctor, to have a word with her, because it may well be that she needs to have a word with some members of the House. So I present to you, Mr. Chairman, the 6th annual report, which has been compiled in keeping with the law. The law.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, not to interrupt you and the flow of your eloquence. Indeed, the wonderful parliamentary theatrics that we saw a while ago with the holy water, which you brought.
I'm finishing now, sir. I present to you this document, this annual report, 231 pages, 32 pages with audited financial statements, and trust that it will be read by parliamentarians, just as how I hope all parliamentarians will read the legislation and not give people the impression that the Commission is doing things outside of the legislation. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you listened very carefully to Justice Panton and his impertinence. I suppose it's going to be interesting on the next meeting, so we'll look out for that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. You take good care of yourselves and walk good.